Welcome to another Telltale Books video. I'm Greg, and I'm going to continue my John Brunner series here with his ninth published work, a story titled Fiery Pillar, which is only a short story, and it was published in New Worlds number 38 in August of 1955. And I don't have a copy of that issue of New Worlds, and as far as I know, it has never been published in any other anthology or collection, only in that issue of New Worlds. So the only way I was able to read it is I found a PDF of that issue of New Worlds online for free, and I read it there. Synopsis of the story: you have Earth's first interstellar ship capable of jumping through some kind of other space. I don't think they say specifically what it is, if it's hyperspace or wormholes or what they're using, but it's going on a jump through some other physics to quickly get to another star system and then come back. But when it comes back, there's a mistake in the calculations and it materializes inside the Earth. It materializes inside the Earth in such a way that the um, the damage to whatever kind of drive it has causes this fiery pillar, which continues to spew straight up through the crust of the Earth, all the way up out into space for years and years and years. And they contain it with a special field to keep it, because the radiation was just killing people. It was causing people to mutate. And so they had to try to put some kind of force field around it to contain that radiation, but it only does just so much good. People continue to suffer through some very strange mutations. Now, this world doesn't like mutations. There are laws that say if you see a mutant, you can shoot it on sight, no questions asked. Now, it was originally published in New Worlds under his true name of K. Houston Brunner, not John Brunner. So if you do get a hold of a copy of that magazine, understand that you're not going to see John Brunner in the contents or anything. It'll be as K. Houston Brunner. And this story works on two levels. The first is the message warning of the dangers of uncontrolled science. And this is something that, for everybody who thinks that science has caused a lot of problems, it isn't science per se that caused problems. It was the lack of diligence on the part of research and corporations to go a step farther and find out what the long-term implications of what they were going to put on the market would be. So they didn't do long-term studies of the environmental effects of insecticides. They didn't do studies on CFCs to see if it was going to harm the ozone layer. They didn't do studies on cigarettes to see if those were going to kill people. They didn't do all this research to find out if there were harmful effects of what they were putting out there. You just had people that could smell lots of money rolling in. And so once they had a product they could sell, they put it out there to start making money off of it. And those products, in many, many cases throughout the 1900s, we ended up finding out that it created some big problems for us. And now we're stuck with those problems of pollution and global warming and plastic floating in the ocean everywhere. We didn't bother to stop and think and do the research. What would happen to plastics long term? Would they break down in the environment? like paper products do. So that's the first thing, the fact that they took this starship and they didn't really do enough research to find out if they could control it enough to avoid rematerializing in the middle of the earth. So the huge accident and all of the damage it causes to millions of people causes governments to pass laws against further research in interstellar travel. But the fact that this fiery pillar is spewing out radiation, which is causing mutations, and the fact that these people, whether they are capable of living productive lives or not, the law says if they're mutants, they can just be put down, no questions asked. There is this 100% absolute prejudice against every mutation. And a lot of people walking around with a deep, intense hatred of anybody who's a mutant without bothering to ask themselves if maybe some of these people have useful abilities. So some deep questions are raised by Fiery Pillar, even though it's just a short little story, not very long, doesn't get really deep into character. It gets a little bit into character, and it is for a short story, it is well written. I did enjoy it, and I would recommend it. I'm not going to say that this is a top tale. I'm not even going to say it's the best Brunner I've read so far, but it's definitely a good story. So if you like 1950s science fiction, I think this is a story you should check out. So have you read Fiery Pillar before? If so, leave your comments in the comment section. And I want to take a moment to point out that I've said this a number of times before. I don't want the comments section or anything else to be a platform for people to tell me how to do my videos better. I know we're not perfect. I do all the time look for ways to improve. I do all the time try to improve, especially the way I talk. I know that I have some idiosyncrasies that I need to conquer and work on. I am working on these things. I am trying to get better. I have invested in better equipment. I haven't invested in the best equipment because I don't have enough money to do that, but I have spent what I could to improve the quality of my equipment. I have looked for ways to better record the quality into the audio into my computer for higher quality. I've done what I can, and I keep looking for other ways to do it. Okay, so I'm not insensitive to people that would like these videos to be better, but all things considered, this video you're seeing right now, this is the best I can do with the money and circumstances that I have. And so your comments telling me that I should do this or that, they're not of much value to me because I know what things could be improved. I know what things need to be improved, and I know what I'm able to improve. I don't need people to tell me that stuff. Okay. So I don't want the comments section of these videos to be a place where you run down how we're doing things or criticize how we're doing things. Because frankly, I'm not going to listen to it. I'm going to delete those comments. I don't want those comments. I want these videos to be about these stories and the authors. I want you to engage about the stories and the authors. Don't worry about if I don't speak really well. Don't worry about if I get some dumb little fact wrong. Don't worry about if my lighting is a little bit blown out on my forehead or something. Don't sweat over those things because that's not for you to worry about. That's for me to worry about. It's for me to work on. I'm aware of the things that need to be worked on. I'm working on the things I can. There are other things that I'm simply not going to change. And no amount of comments in the comments section is going to impact that at all. The latest comment that I saw was somebody on an older video saying that I wasn't allowing Emily to talk enough. First thing I did is I went and I asked Emily if she felt that way, and she said no. Second thing I did is I reviewed that video. And if all you do is watch the first 2-3 minutes of the video where I give kind of the historical background, because it's a play that was done back in the 1500s by Thomas Middleton. If all you do is watch 2 or 3 minutes into the video, then all you get is me giving the historical detail, because that's the way Emily and I have worked out to do things. I'm pretty good at digging up those little facts, historical facts surrounding the stories. She's better at giving you the synopsis. She does a much better job of summarizing these stories. So I start out with the background, she does a synopsis, and then the two of us talk back and forth of what we thought of the story. And that works for us. We like that. She's happy with the way we're doing things. She does not feel like I'm dominating her or anything. I'm kind of certain in my guess that this person only watched about the first 1 or 2 minutes of the video and only saw me talking. And Emily is sitting there listening to me. And this person was probably a feminist who immediately jumped to the conclusion that I'm not fair towards Emily. Emily knows very well if she doesn't really think this is true, then I'm putting it on YouTube to say it's true. That if she doesn't like the way I'm doing something, she can talk to me about it and I will listen and we will change. But only if it's Emily that feels I'm doing wrong and comes to me and says, Craig, I'd like you to change this. The rest of you can make comments from now till doomsday, and I will continue to delete them. I don't want that. I want you to comment on the stories. And so, talk about John Brunner, talk about Fiery Pillar, talk about science fiction of the 1950s, whatever thoughts you have on those subjects. Talk about New Worlds magazine in the 1950s. I don't know a whole lot about the magazine itself. You got stories you can tell about that? Put those in my comments, in the comments on these videos. That's what I want to hear from you guys. Don't tell me that you don't like my green sweatshirt or you don't like my lighting or you think Emily should be here more often. She's here as often as she can be. Okay. She's busy. She's got other things she's doing. She can't be here for every one of these videos because she doesn't have the kind of time to do the reading that I do. She can't read even half the stories that I do. And that's her situation. That's her reality. I would love it if she were here for every video, but that can't happen. Okay. So let us handle our nuts and bolts of getting these things done and how we read them, what we choose to read, what we are, how we are structuring our videos, how often Emily shows up, who talks when. Let us handle that. And if the way we're doing it just pisses you off to no end, there's plenty of other channels, because I like how we're doing things now and I'm not going to change it. Okay, put away the soapbox. Don't leave comments criticizing how we are doing our videos. You're not here. You don't know what we're up against. You don't know what resources we have to use. So you don't know whether or not we can even think about doing things differently. So That said, the next John Brunner is no future in it. I hope you'll join me for that and many more John Brunner videos and many more other authors and stories here on Telltale Books.